those who don't know, the conversation today is literally just to explore why it's important to use digital platforms to create content. Most of you here are probably business owners, or maybe you want to consider, branding yourself outside of your business or in addition to your business. How do you do that, and how do you do that well, and what opportunities exist and what challenges come with using those digital spaces? So it's literally about leveraging the use of digital platforms through their content creation. So with me, to begin with, I have Judy Nyawera, who's a content creator. I have Timothy Kimani, who's known as Njugush, who's also a comedian, Abigail Nassar, who's a makeup artist, and Charlton Wasike, who's a content creator. Can we give them a round of applause first? Fantastic. So if you just grab the mic and just tell them a little bit more about what you do and who you are and why this conversation might be important for you. And we'll start with Judy. Yeah.
Good afternoon. My name is Judy Nyawera. I am a content creator, an influencer, and an entrepreneur. Yes, work in progress hapo kwa entrepreneurship. Yeah, I create content mostly around motherhood and health. We also talk about finances here and there, financial literacy. So my content is mostly around, you would call me like a lifestyle content creator. My biggest platforms are YouTube and Instagram, but I'm also on Facebook and TikTok as well. And I am very happy to be here. Very excited to be in a room full of women talking to women about women.
Yeah, that's why you clap. Amazing. My name is Timothy Kimani Derwa. I'm also known as Njugush, tall, dark, and handsome. Ni vile sahi sijaambiwa nisimame. I'm a content creator. I'm funny, and it's interesting. I actually started a room far from here, Protel Studios. I started on TV, and later on, I lost my job, and I didn't have anything to do. So I by accident, I needed to save my videos. I was shooting a lot of videos with my phone, never posted, and then I realized there's something called YouTube where I could save. So I used to post on YouTube to save my videos. I'm a content creator, as I said. I run a company majoring in digital solutions. That is advertising online and what have you. I'm also a father of 2 boys and a husband to 1 wife, who is a woman. So I'm happy to be here.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here with all of you. My name is Abigail Nassar. I do makeup artistry. As you've seen from, I think you were able to see the program. I'm happy to be here with my colleagues here as we are touching on the subject of content creation. I didn't start with makeup artistry as such, but I do focus on that with my colleague here, Kate, who's here with us today. My brand, my company does a lot of decor, event planning, and then we also do gift packages and makeup artistry. I think we'll delve deeper into how I got to do the makeup artistry as we continue with the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charlton Wasike. I'm a content creator, mainly on TikTok, but I do have Instagram. I'm venturing into that. I also model. I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm a businessman also. And I'm glad to be here speaking in front of all the women and the men who are here. I was raised by, I'd say, an excellent group of women around me, so I'm glad to be speaking in front of all of you.
Yeah, I love that. So this is a question. So this is, and for anyone who's interested in the trade agreement session, it's happening in the chapel. So this is a question to all of you, because you do use digital, you exist in the digital spaces. So in your combined experiences with the use of those platforms and what you do and sharing what you do and who you are, there are people here, like we had discussed before we got here, that have businesses that are probably even trying to develop themselves as a brand as well. And why is it important to exist in a digital space? Why is it so important? And perhaps share personal insights of how it's helped you, the opportunities you've gained as a result. And yeah, practice, basically preach what you practice. Yeah. Anyone can go first.
Let me just mention I'm a mom. Whenever my daughter is coughing, I'm just like, Google. Make cough medicine. Is she coughing? How long has she coughed for? And in the day and age we live in, let me say, is it Gen Z? And before that, have not lived in a place, in a world where the digital space, phones, the internet doesn't exist. I was born into the early 90s, so I existed where there was no internet, and we moved into a lot of digital TV. That's when we started seeing a lot of the DSTV coming in as they were pushing the internet. Where I was born into a place where there were people weren't on email, phone calls, you'd have to go to the booth to put in mashilingi and make a phone call. But where we are now, where you can just make a phone call using the internet, that's where we've been drawn to. That's how people communicate nowadays. My 5-year-old uses my phone. I couldn't use a phone. I had to learn how to use a phone. She is now well versed with technology. And to separate ourselves from technology and say, I'm not going to be on certain platforms because of certain reasons, yet these are what are pushing our brands as artists, I think would work negatively for you. So pushing your brand via content creation on social media platforms, on websites, that is what is pushing your brand, your name, your work to get your name out there and to even show your work and get you more clients.
Yeah, if I could go next. I have been in the content creation world for about 3 years now. So I could call myself a newbie. Well, if I am to compare myself with somebody like Njugush, who's one of the pioneers of the digital space and influencing as we know it. But before I was a content creator, I was actually a TV and film producer, producing some of the best shows, wachaniringe kidogo, that we have in this country. I don't know if anyone of you ever watched Makutano Junction. That was airing on Citizen. There's also another show on Citizen TV called Shamba Shape Up, hiyo ni ya wakulima. So those are some of the shows I was producing for about 10 years. So miaka iko ni vile mejificha hapa kwa magoti. And so I've had the privilege of being both on TV and now on digital and experiencing the differences between the two worlds. So to answer your question, Angela, on why it is important to be on the digital space, I would phrase it like this. So we all know the old media. That's what we call it now. Like doing TV commercials, billboards, advertising on billboards. But I have a question for you. For anyone who's ever done advertisement on maybe say a billboard, how are you able to tell how many people have seen that billboard? Yeah? It's a bit difficult to tell, right? But if you come to Njugush and say you have a product or a service that you want to advertise with Njugush, it is very possible to know exactly how many people watched watch the particular video that advertised the particular product or service. It's very possible to know how many people actually got to see, because there is we have the views uko kwa backend ya Instagram. For example, when we are doing our reports, because we always do reports for any client that we work with. So at the end of every campaign, I'm able to give you statistics, like proper statistics of this product or service that you advertised with Njugush. It got 100,000 people watched the particular clip. So we can say 100,000 people now know that this product or service exists, right? We can also go further into the report and tell you how many people that particular clip reached. Because there's views and then there's reach, meaning beyond the people who viewed the clip, kuna wengine wengi ilifikia. And it fikias all these other people because Njugush did a very funny video, and then you have like 100 or 200 people who shared that same video with so many other people. So why is it important to exist on the digital space? Because you're able to get data, like real-time data on this business of yours. If you're advertising, you're able to get the numbers. Yeah.
Amazing. I think in this age, I think when we started, it was not really that. And I think what helped, I know it's quite, I don't know how to say it, but COVID really helped in terms of digital, because that's when now everyone started, you want people to see. And I think the most important thing that digital has, or social media has been able to do, is to be able to focus on your target audience. Like for example, when you're paying for a TVC, you pay, yes, it's good you pay, but you're paying for everyone. So you don't know if it's to your target audience, but with digital, you're able to direct your advertising. So for example, if you're selling products for makeup and what have you, you know how to put it, you know who to, in case you want influencers, you know who to have, you'd have her for that purpose. So there is that one where you do your direct. This packaging in terms of content, let's say for example, it's something touching the youth, your product or service touches the youth. So you'll be able to use Sheng without fear. You'd go all out in ukiongea Sheng, and that will be it, because you're focusing to a particular group. Whereas for a TVC, you'd be tempted to do just a proper standard Swahili, because it goes to everyone. Two, the platforms themselves, the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikToks, they have tools that enable you to market and to push your product. Like for example, if today you talked about, I want a white Adidas, for example, the next thing you realize is if you go to Instagram, you see a lot of adverts for the same shoe. So your phone, it's very powerful in the sense that the more content you consume, the more, like for example, if I consume a lot of fashion, like for example, I'm seeing today you're looking so beautiful. If I focus on,
thank you.
Watu walijaribu. If you really focus on fashion, when I'm consuming content on Facebook or Instagram will always suggest similar posts. Like for example, if I'm watching a lot of these, they'll suggest that. So even when you're putting your money in Facebook and say, I want to boost my post, they'll ask you what kind of audience would you like that particular post to go to. So that way, even the platforms themselves, they enable you to market, and that's for a very, because you actually say how much you want to pay. Sometimes they ask you, do you want to pay for 2 days, or how much do you could 200, 400, 500. So it helps you, and especially for SMEs and people who don't really want to spend much on marketing but still make a lot of money, it still does that. 3 is it brings people who are interested with your product in connection to people who are selling that particular product. You could have a beautiful warehouse here with a lot of seats, but in the neighborhood, no one wants to buy some seats. But there's someone in Roiro, there's another person in Ngong who need these exact seats. So the only way to make them in one single virtual room is to put them on digital. So I think for me it's powerful. And fourth, it makes money. And I think if there's someone who is really a testament of how, because I was on telly, I used to make money, but if I was still on telly right now without digital, I don't think I'll be where I am now. Yeah. And it's because of that. There's a lot of money coming into digital, and everyone is jumping on it. So I think if you're not there, and also another beautiful thing about digital, it's not too late to start. Yes. Yeah, it doesn't matter you started how many years ago. It's when you're starting, as long as you have something. it's like a market. You are selling this, so people are going to come and choose. It's like, for example, a good example is when the set-top boxes came. You know, Kitambo, we used to watch only one particular station.
Yes.
Because they had money to have their signal all over. But now when the set-top box came, everyone is available. So even someone as crooked as Mackenzie was able to have a TV station. So it's what you have right now on digital is what people are coming to consume. So I think I beg to differ.
Okay.
Need to be your term. I beg to stop there.
Sawa. Charlton, do you have something to add?
I feel like everyone has touched on most of the things, but one thing I'll say is I feel like digital platforms have definitely bridged the gap between, like, I don't know whether I'm fitting Gen Z or millennial, but one of those. I feel like it's bridged the gap between me and the older generation. Like, one thing that surprises me is when my mom would show me, like, her friends have sent her a video of mine or so, and like they're laughing at it and they're sharing it, my friends, parents, everyone. So that really shocks me. And then it's also bridged the gap between a lot of businesses. You see, traditional marketing is maybe you'd have to watch like the news at 9 p.m. to know about something. You might have to be in a certain area handing out posters. But the good thing about digital platforms, your vision for your business could be just to sell in Kenya, but just because you've hired someone who's on digital platforms, someone in Rwanda could see it, someone in Tanzania, Nigeria, anywhere else. It really expands your business. So your vision might be just Kenya, and it could reach much further, and I feel like that's why digital platforms are good.
Okay. Thank you. Let's give him a round of applause. So I'm going to ask a question in two parts. The first part is about finding your voice. The second part is how to be authentic. So the first part, I want to address it to Judy and Charlton. So Charlton, perhaps you can go first. In a space where there's so many content creators of all kinds in every part of the world, and you've literally brought to life one of the things that we forget is that internet brings someone from Brazil to my page that didn't know I existed, right? So you're not just talking to a Kenyan audience at some point, you're talking to the global audience, and you're giving them the opportunity, or you're inviting them to see what maybe Kenya has to offer. So how do you find your voice? How do you identify your niche? And how, maybe while you answer that, talk about how you found your voice. You've been doing it for 3 years. How long have you been doing? Yeah, Charlton.
Since 2021, so 3 years almost.
Yeah. So talk to us about how you've been able to find your voice and what you can advise those who are trying to find their voice through their business, right? Yeah.
I feel like when it came to finding my voice, when I first started off on social media, I just used to make small skits on a private account with a few friends, and then they kept on insisting that I should publicly post my videos. So the only way I could find my voice is, like, when I first started, just trying out different things and seeing what gets the most views, what gets the most interactions, engagement, like basically what the audience would like to see. And then based off what they like to see is how I direct my content. Because one thing I've realized about getting a loyal audience, you have to be your true self. You can't sell someone you're not and then they meet you in person and it's different. You have to represent yourself on social media the way you are in person. So I feel like staying true to yourself and seeing what people respond to and resonate to is how I found my voice, and it's been going good so far. So, yeah.
Good. Go on, Judy.
So maybe during introduction, I should have mentioned that I am a mother to a 14-year-old daughter who actually just got home today from high school. She joined Form 1 this year, so says ngoja tumalize hapa niende home too. I just go and chill with her. I'm so excited that she's home. This is the longest she's been away from home. But the reason why I'm mentioning I'm a mother, because that is how my content creation journey started. So in every space that you've found ourselves in, especially my daughter and I, there's always this question that people ask, "Ay, huyo ni mama yako kweli?" Because we tend to be like the youngest parents, in whether it's in since she started school, nini. So I realized I was a mom who was trying to figure out this motherhood thing, like we all do. They say there's no manual, so we are all trying to figure out this motherhood journey. And I started posting on my stories. That was I would say in 2021. Kidogo too. Like just me and her having conversations on Instagram via stories. Like we would be talking about, say what? She's found a tampon in my bedroom, and now she's curious. She was about maybe 10 then. So of course by that age she's now becoming a bit curious. Of course she's now growing kidogo, oh, boobs are coming out, nini. There are so many questions around what is happening at that particular stage. So what happened is I would post these conversations about me and my daughter on social media, and then the conversations just started blowing up, because there are so many moms who are going through the same. And they happen to be having the same conversations with their daughters, but the difference is Mombus is very open. Her name is Mombus, my daughter. Mombus is very open to talking about what she's feeling, what she's experiencing, which was not unlike the moms with daughters of the same age. So I would say my journey started out as just a curious mom, sharing her stories and hoping to learn from fellow moms. Like sasa nikikuja niulizwe story ya menstruation, nijibu aje? Because then we talk about those things and then fellow moms would share. And for me, I would say, I think the fact that it was a very authentic conversation. I was able to find myself in a space that most of these conversations don't happen. Because I realized the first time I actually posted a longer video of our conversations on Instagram, and the conversation was about my daughter is 10 years old and she has started her periods. That video blew up, but the feedback was, oh my God, thank you, Mama Mumbus. Like, I am struggling to understand how to start this conversation with my daughter. So I would say for me, how I found my voice on the digital space, whereby we have so many creators, and especially now, would be because the conversations that I was having were very true to me. They're actually very authentic stories, and stories that most of us as women relate to. Yeah. So I would say authenticity is is very big. Like if you want to create content and create content for a long time, you really have to be authentic. Like huwezi copy paste. Huwezi sema Judy anaongelea juu ya motherhood hata mimi wacha nijaribu. It has to be something that you're experiencing and maybe a journey that you are on and you're sharing your very authentic experiences. So for me, I would say that. And also to add, maybe just one point. They say there's only one of you in this world. Like you're unique by yourself. So if you get to understand that thing that makes you unique, you will stand out. Out of 1 billion people, tutakujua.
Yeah. Your fingerprints remind you that every day. I've left Njugush and Abigail to answer this question because, first of all, Abigail, please share a little bit about your makeup journey, right? So there's an element about what Abigail does in terms of makeup that I will leave for her. I think it would be more interesting if she reveals. And how maybe that has helped you find your space and your voice, because there's now so many makeup artists in Kenya, and now they're also going global. They go to New York Fashion Week. So, makeup has changed. And then, Jugush, for you, I guess, from mass media, multimedia, media, TV, the 5 stations, to DSTV, to now you just take the phone and you create your own channel, right? So how have you been able to transition from that, and what was the clicking point? Because you said it earlier, you begin to realize that actually you can make more money in the digital media. So maybe you can share with us that clicking point where you were like, actually, if I gave as much effort to using this digital media, it can actually give me the bread and butter that I'm looking for more than focusing on TV. So I'll let Abigail first tell us a little bit more about her makeup journey.
My makeup journey is not the normal conventional one. Most people go to beauty school or begin working in the beauty industry. Mine was different. I got employed at a morgue, and at the morgue during the COVID period, we had a lot of clients bringing in their loved ones. And it took me so long to get used to this work environment, because specifically this particular morgue where I was attached to, the admin was not separate from dealing with, I know my story is morbid, but the admin was not separate from dealing with the clients and the clients' needs and their loved ones' remains. So in all that, these people would come in and like, you look so good. Can you do that on mom? Can you do that on dad? Can you fix his lips? Can you do that? So I was like, why? I have to psych myself to do that. I remember the first time I did it, I held my breath, and then I continued to do it, and that's where I learned my skill. How to do eyebrows, how to blend, how to plait hair, putting wigs, blending wigs, laces. Oh, I put my lashes on my mom this morning, and she was like, you did it so fast. I'm like, I practiced. I practice on a weekly basis. I make sure I practice. So in as much as I did enter this industry from an avenue that's not as conventional, there are opportunities for youth to come in, especially ladies, because that industry is dominated by men, because women are known not to be able to carry such heavy weights, especially carrying the remains here and there. But there is an industry where you are able to break into reconstruction, break into makeup, and the loved ones are happy to pay what you ask. So from there, I even went into now booking weddings, where I work with Kate, who's here with us. So we book weddings together. I know sometimes such big events, you're not able to handle so many clients. So it's always good to work with people who have the proper work ethic that you have, and you're able to communicate together and even execute the same work. You know, some artists, you find their work might be a bit exaggerated. As you find, like the way I look today, we do more of a natural look. It's not the contact lashes where you look at someone today and tomorrow they're looking someone else. No, it's just enhancing the beauty that someone already has so that they look presentable to the public, and even for their loved ones. There's a way, remembering how they look when they see them at their final resting time leaves a good memory them. It gives them more closure during that period. So with that, I even came up with the name for the business, Considerate Touch, that we are considerate of what we are doing and who we are reaching and how we are touching lives. And we are able even to minister to these people who are going through such a very hard time, you know, losing their mom, their dad, losing their loved one, and just touching them in that way whereby you can just that little makeup you're going to do for them will touch their lives. Yeah? So that's
I love
what I
that.
do.
Thank you. Thank you. I bet you never expected that. Who expected that storytelling? Huh? I don't think anyone expected. Okay. Jugush? Jugush is shocked. Practice makes you a master of perfection. It doesn't matter how it comes, but it just comes. Perhaps it's different to most. Go on.
Wow, that's amazing. I think, well done. And I think these, and especially right now when we are saying kids are going to school and we have no jobs, there's a lot of jobs everywhere. And I think this is really powerful. I felt like we should all go sit down to Muache hapa. Thank you so much, Abigail. And I think what I like about, maybe that's what she likes about her job, is her clients are never late.
And they don't move.
They're always on time as much as they're late. But that is on a light note. And I think if there's something COVID taught us is to reset. Because we all know, where I grew up in somewhere in Kikuyu, we always knew that we plant maize and beans. That's the kind of farming my dad used to do. Now, my mom used to go and borrow shambas. We didn't have a lot of shambas. Actually, we didn't have a shamba, but my mom could go and borrow someone and tell them, you see, this shamba is, you're not doing anything with it. So we had like 10 acres, which we didn't own, but she's always planting maize and beans. And then the weather is so unpredictable. So what happens is the maize and beans you plant you don't really get to harvest anything. And I think this is what we've been doing until COVID. COVID switched up. After COVID, there are some people who never went back to their jobs. And such a story of how something led to another, and then you realize, wait, no one has been playing in this field. And I think for me, that has been my journey of switching. You talk about how I switched, right? It's the same. So for me, well, it's quite different because for me, it's lack of money. For me, where we were working at the time, the owner of the production felt like, it's interesting, I was with the husband. He's the one who brought me into the industry. He's quite old. It's called Abel Mutua. He's 38.
Age mate.
So, but we always say he's 45. So, when we were together, the producer thought, you know, the era of TV then, it used to be you have to kneel down to someone to get a role. You have to be under someone, I need a role. And you know, if they say they are, and even we reached to a point where we needed to be added for something, because the salary, and I'll put it into perspective because it will make sense why I am always advocating for digital. So, during TV, when we were doing the Real Houses, most of you knew me in the Real Houses of Kawangware. I was very skinny, and it's because we were being paid. We were being paid, I think it was 7,000 per episode. So that meant at the end of the month, this is just for perspective. So at the end of the month, you're paid 28 because we did 4 episodes in a month. So you're paid 28,000. So I'm a big name with 28,000 in my account.
After tax?
Before.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, before, and we are lucky then we didn't have this government. Anyway, story for another day. Because ningeenda nyumbani na 5,000. Now, 28,000 1 month for TV. So we did that, no complaining, but we were saying, would you please add? But now at that time, TV and mass media wasn't working that way in terms of making money. They were not making as much money to be able to add everyone a salary. So with time, was not sustainable. Abel Mutua left. And then I was like, because he's the one who brought me in this industry, I'm also leaving. I thought he had something planned out. Kumbe he didn't have anything. So we were 2 broke guys in Nairobi just hanging. So by then she was working, they were supporting us, my wife was working, so we were being supported by our wives, but no one knew. Yeah, so they always put it on our hearts, yeah?
Let's clap for the wives, Kwanza.
Yeah. So they were supporting us. I remember there's a time Celestine sent me 70 shillings. I was at Standard Media, KTN. So she sent me 70 bob on M-Pesa. So do you know how hard it is to withdraw? Because the question you ask is, how I have 70 shillings, how much can I withdraw? Because there is the withdrawal charges. Now all this is perspective. So we moved from that, and then we stayed home, and then Celestine realized I was writing a lot of scripts, and then she asked me, where are you going to take all those scripts? Can't you do it? Take your phone and record. And that's the beauty of online. You don't have to have cameras and whatnot and lights, just a phone, and you're good to go. So we started with the phone. So I was like, huyu ananifanyisha kazi gani? So I'll be in the streets recording. Men are like, we expect cameras, not phones. So we recorded, and then we did like for 2 weeks. Then something happened. Someone reached out. I remember that company, the company Up to Date, and asked, can we put our product in your videos and then we pay you? I was like, why are you paying me na ini Instagram? No, they're like, we'll pay you. Then Celestine, then tuko naye hapa after our wedding tulikuwa tumesota, we didn't have anything. So we're just chilling, and then the call comes, and then he asked me, how much are you going to charge? So I told the guy, he's called Paul. I told the guy, let me connect you to my manager. My manager at that time is sitting right beside me. And I cut the phone, I gave her, called Paul, and Paul asked, how much are you going to? By then, we were in arrears, rent arrears for 50,000. So when she called Paul, and Paul asked, how much are you going to charge? She said, 50,000, according to our needs. So, and Paul was like, okay, go ahead. So how many videos? I'm like, are you going to really give us 50,000? Because I'm shooting with my phone, and he understands I'm going to shoot with my phone. I'm posting on my Instagram. By then I had 20,000 followers, and he's ready to give us. In fact, to show us how ready he was, he sent, I think, 10,000 upfront. So 10,000 for one episode. On Telly, I was being paid 7,000. For this guy, he's decided for the first clip, 10,000 he's already sent. So I asked myself, I have 20,000 followers. He's willing to give me 10,000. What if I had 1 million and did like 100 videos? So that's where everything changed. So unfortunately, this guy didn't give us the balance. I know. We posted a lot of videos, even we did surplus. And we ate the 10,000, and this is a mistake we did. Instead of paying rent, we ate the 10,000, because also, you know, poverty, when you stay for a long time without something, and then you get, we went and ate chicken, full chicken, at OJ at Bypass. So he never paid us the deposit. However, that, I asked her if he was willing to give us the 10,000, even for one video. That's money I wouldn't even make for one episode. Yeah. And for one episode, we used to shoot 2 to 3 days. And this clip, I just used some few minutes, and that's it, 10,000 in the pocket. Something else, so that kicked. The other thing is, she used to record my videos. So, and I've had mommies here. Pardon? Who is recording your videos? Yeah, the mom is here. So something so beautiful about digital, you don't need to have, you know, a company to have ABCD. You are your own production house. Yeah. So you have a friend, you have, like for example, my wife is the one who, even to date, when I have something funny, I'm like, chukua camera. That is the phone. It's zero in terms of investment. It's what you have. No one, and another thing we care about, actually don't have a good camera phone. No one cares about your camera phone. Actually, you don't even know you're using an Infinix. I'm sorry for the guys who are using Infinix. Because if you realize a lot of videos that go viral and photos, they're not the clearest of videos. Because what people are interested in is the content. The content is what, so, and now this brings me, I'm sorry, this is the last comment, and then I'll beg to differ. If there's something digital has taught us, there is no standard form of content. You know, for TV tulikuwa, there is news, then there is a soap opera, then there is kidogo Kenyan content, there's cartoon. It is standard, you can't do anything.
Yes.
If today you go to social media, you'll find someone cooking, na anapika hata chakula hazina kule ziko, yani just cooking. And people are interested in that.
It's Lando.
Exactly. And you'll find someone else who is doing farm content. He is planting season, and people are going to watch. The other time, I saw a very beautiful, I wish I can remember the handle. It's a group of 4 guys who have Down syndrome. And what these guys do, they have Down syndrome. So in an ordinary newsroom, in an ordinary media house, they wouldn't get a space. Because they'll be deemed as they are slow, people are not going to watch. But for the Down, actually it's called something Get Down With, because they are cooking. So it's called Get Down With. There are 3 guys who do cooking, might not be full-blown cooking, but you'll watch. They have views, millions of views on every video they post, because people are looking for that particular content. So this is my point as I finish. Whatever you're doing is what everyone is looking for. Problem is, I want to be like Njugush. I want to have content like a Muzungu fulani from somewhere. People are looking for that where you are. Yeah. And the beauty about digital is wherever you are is where they'll consume it. Yeah. So if you, like for example, if I'd come up with where I'll just be milking cows, people will watch. Yeah. Today, manze, today you did, you milk a black cow, tomorrow do a brown one. It's so interesting, people will watch. You'd go to YouTube and watch a video, but this is absurd, but there's a video of how to sit down. Yeah, and people will watch. It's crazy how digital have changed everything. So if you can take advantage when it comes to biashara, because people also are looking, what you're selling is what someone is looking
Yeah.
for. And again, I beg to differ. I'll stop there.
I love that. Actually, let's give a round of applause to all of them. So you've done a perfect segue for me. And this is to Charlton. So each of you, I'm going to ask you a specific question about what you've asked because it's something I want to drive out from your story. So you said whatever phone you have, use it and work with what you have. There's so many digital spaces. Charlton, talk to us why you've chosen TikTok as a space that works for you, and for those who want to explore that, why they should consider that.
I chose TikTok because I feel like since I'm kind of I'd say a newcomer, like obviously Njugush, Abigail, Judy, I feel like they've been doing been on digital platforms longer than me. So when I first started off, I wanted a space where my videos could go viral, like without many followers. Because the good thing about TikTok, someone with 100 followers could get 1 million views on a video.
Absolutely.
Someone with many followers could get 200 views. The algorithm they push anyone's content. And for me at the time, someone who was trying to get followers quickly, get views, TikTok just worked for me at the time. And also I feel like it allowed me to because the thing about my content, I feel like I'm just myself. Even I have a campaign next month with Visa, the credit card guys. And the content, what they told me was to just do what I do. Like my content doesn't have an exact niche. Parents could relate to it, teenagers, children, anyone. And yeah, I feel like the beauty of TikTok just allowed me to be myself. And yeah, that's why I love it.
Is there a reason, for those who want to use that TikTok, what can you advise for them to think about when they're creating videos, even images? I know now TikTok is trying to push images a lot more than they used to push videos. Long form with the new trends that are happening.
I feel like if you do want to join TikTok, you're gonna have to put the thing about trends come and go, like every week. You're gonna have to pay attention to what's being pushed, because they push different videos at different times. Like TikTok used to be a dancing app where it's 6 seconds of people dancing. Yep. They recently had a feud with a musical group, so a lot of music has been taken off. So now it's becoming more of like a storytelling app, similar to what like YouTube is. I'd also say don't pay attention to what other people have to say, because the thing about TikTok also, people's accounts don't have their names on them. People are really anonymous on there. So someone could comment something negative under your video and it could be Njugush. He's just, he doesn't want to see me do, not that it's Njugush, but someone doesn't want to see me do well. It's anonymous. So one thing I go by, a quote I go by is, I had a purpose before everyone had an opinion. So you really just need to focus and block out the noise of what everyone else has to say, because if you feel like you're working in your purpose with your business, whether it's not doing good now or later, if you feel like that's what God chose for you to do, then nothing's gonna stop that. It's inevitable,
Oh, I love that.
So yeah.
Can I get an amen? And this is, so this is a question to Judy, because you talked about how the way you found yourself in content creation was because of motherhood. But what it made me think is maybe you are also trying to find a community that understands you in a way that maybe you can't really talk to perhaps the people that are around you. So you wanted to find a community maybe that are on the same boat or share in order to connect with other people on the same boat. So in terms of, and all of you have touched on it on one point or another, is to get honest followership, you have to be authentic. So how do you build your digital community? What are the techniques that you've used that you find are most effective in fostering that interaction? Because there's one thing having 20,000 followers, and there's another thing having 20,000 followers and 100 views. There's a disconnect. Yeah.
I would say, I would probably just go back to the point I had mentioned earlier. For me, I would say consistency is the thing that will give you traction and will help you build an audience. Because when you talk about a particular subject for like a long period of time, the people who are interested in that particular thing that you're talking about will find you. Yeah, so for me, I would say is the consistency that I continuously put out content. And I would say I wouldn't say that was very, like I was trying to build an audience or I was trying to, do this thing so that eventually it can earn me money. Honestly, for me, I was just sharing my journey through motherhood together with my daughter. So I think through the conversations and the authenticity of maybe the content that we were putting out, we were able to attract our community. And that's how we've built from, I would say in 2021, I probably had maybe less than 100,000 people following me. But of the 3 years, I'm now on Instagram only, I have almost 420,000 people following me now. Yeah, so I would say if you're consistent enough and you're authentic, this thing that you're trying to say is something that you deeply feel. You're not copy pasting from anybody. Yeah, Charlton said, is just do you. Wewe ni nani? What are some of these things that you care about? Yeah. Just do that. And then the people who are meant to find you, they will.
And just before I ask the next question to Abigail, you do motherhood content, which means that you share, you do videos with your daughter. I love your content. And also sometimes I think Abo is in your videos as well. So how do you, for those, there's sometimes with social media, and you can all agree, it's really hard to draw a line between public and private. So how do you decide, and even Jugush, you can answer to that, is how do you decide, because I know you share stuff to do with your family, how do you decide what you're going to share with us and what you're going to keep with us, keep for yourself rather?
I would say is because my content is curated, like si lalangi tunaamka, nasema nafanya video, yeah. It's content that's well thought out. So, actually, this is how we come up with most of the conversations that we've had with Mombus and the dad sometimes, is there's a particular video that we did, and this is one of the best performing videos on our YouTube channel. I think we are maybe now at 700,000 views on that particular video. I was in the washroom, and it was that time of the month. And I was trying to change it's that you need to change.
It's okay, you can say it.
Yeah, we're women,
easy
vitu hatuogopi kusema. So I'm in the bathroom, I need to change, but I had forgotten to grab a pad before I got into the toilet. This is in my house. So my husband is on the other side of the door, and I call him, babe, unaona hiyo dryer ya pili, fungua, hiyo packet, toa moja. So he did exactly what I told him, but as he was passing the pad, akaniambia, babe, unajua sijaiona hii kitu without the wrapping. I was like, what? Like we've been together 16 years. That's a long time. So I was like, what do you mean? Like you didn't see it from your sisters? Like you didn't, like, because he has sisters. So I was, nikashanga, I was like, aye. Like, so let me tell you, that is how that conversation. So I decided, by the way, because I was very curious. Actually, what we did, because Mumbus had already started her periods by that time, I told Mumbus, you teach daddy how to, like, Abu take daddy through how a pad normally works. Like, how does it work? And out of that, I was like, so how many dads out there have absolutely no clue about menstruation? Like, how many dads are bringing up girls and they have no clue whatsoever? So we decided to do that conversation. Like, we decided to do it practically on camera. And I thank God, because my daughter is very confident. She's very confident. She will do it very well. So actually, the video was now Mombos teaching her dad how to lay a pad on a panty. So I would say most of our conversations are basically things that you're experiencing at home. And then I'm like, surely, tulisema tunalan sisi wote. So if my husband doesn't know about this thing, then maybe there are so many other dads out there who don't know, who have no clue. So yeah.
So you use it as a teachable moment.
Exactly.
Okay. Did you want to speak to decide what to share, Jagush? Okay. Okay.
Oh, sorry. And maybe before Njugush answers. So on what to share in public and what not to share.
Yeah.
I really plan on whatever content I want to put out. Okay. So kama hiyo content si kitu nilikuwa nimeplan, then it's probably not going to go into the public. The other thing would be for maybe how we manage to protect our daughter, because she's already in the limelight, like she's well known. I would say what we've done so far is we have made sure that she does not have any social media platforms. If you are to ever come across content with my daughter in it, it's on my platforms or on her dad's platforms. Yeah,
not her own.
Not her own platforms until she's 18. Okay. Then anaweza fungua YouTube ama Instagram akitaka.
Yeah.
Nice. I think, of course, there are those things that you wouldn't just post. Though now with online, with digital, I think anything can happen. We are seeing videos. You're like, what is happening? Yeah, you see someone go to the studio, comes out with a song, and you're like, So I think we just know. It's just like instinct. You just know what to post and what not to. Yes. And if I keep saying, if what I'm posting will inspire in a way, if what I'm posting might help, like for example, there's a video we posted with Tugi. He was very young, and we were doing some backstory. We go to the hospital, and then the doctor tells us, you're supposed to talk to a kid like a grown-up because he's a human, he's a person, not a baba, because he was like, what is a baba? So between you and the kid, who is the kid? Yeah, so, and it was quite interesting because we are used to talking to kids like kids, baba, instead of saying baba, who are you? Yeah. And from that discussion, we were with Celestine, and it was well. So we went home and started practicing, and it worked. So, and we tell Tugi, go then I think he was 1 year and something, he didn't even know how to really walk well, and it worked. So when we posted that small video, and guys were like, what do you do to him for him to be able to be like that? And from that, we had parents who didn't know their kids had a problem because they were late, because now you find you have a kid who is like 4, 3, they've not started, and now they started going for therapy, and they realized they always thought their kids had a problem, but they didn't have a problem. It's because the nannies, when they're left with the kids, they just watch TV.
Yeah.
So they don't interact with the kid. When you come home from work, you're very tired. You're like, she's already sleeping. So next day, same thing, a whole week. So these kids don't actually know how to talk. And the doctor said, if you put a baby from day 0 to a certain age with goats, they'll start bleating because they think that's how they communicate. So it's the same way. So from that, and that doctor even today tells us the number of guys who still come for therapy, it's amazing. So if that content will inspire, well, then the second thing I keep saying, that's what I do. I'm an artist. What I know doing best is being an artist. So that's all. If my dad was an artist, I'll be the best comedian you've ever seen in this country. But now we are learning from the ropes. Same way, if you have a beautiful biashara, you bring in your kids. You never say you're exposing them to nails because you have a hardware. You're exposing them to things that will harm them. It's the same thing anywhere you go. So if I have an opportunity to be able to give them that upper hand, then I'll gladly do so. Only if I'm in charge of what goes out and what comes in. Like, for example, my son will tell you, if you ask for a selfie from him, he'd say, ask dad. Because unless the mama said or someone else who is close to him says, that goes. But other than that, we are talking about making money. We are talking about placing these kids. Because we are talking about digital now. The world has become a village. So how is, for example, Hollywood going to spot him unless I put him up. So, yeah.
I hear you. Okay. So before I hand over the mic to the other side for people to ask, so this is to all of you, and Abigail, maybe you can start, is with what you know now, what would you do differently?
With what I know now, I'd say overcoming my fears faster than I did. It took me so long to get over my fears. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's all in your head. It's all in the back of your head. If you do program yourself and say, I can do this, I can overcome this, I can achieve this, I can set these goals for myself and push myself forward, and follow up with yourself on a daily basis saying, I've set this goal and we are working towards this. It's all a mindset. So if I had overcome that earlier or faster than I did, but sometimes it's just a journey, it's just your time. You also have to learn a few things as you're getting there, but definitely overcoming fear and changing my mindset.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Charlton?
I feel like I'm definitely young, obviously, but I'd say I wish I started earlier, because for the longest of times since maybe 2018, or people always used to tell me to start being on social media. So I would say I wish I started earlier, because the amount of opportunities I've been able to get at my age, the people, brands I've been able to work with, have just been amazing. So I'm thankful to God for that. And the other thing would be, I'm trying to venture also into doing more on Instagram, like more on my social media. But luckily, because of this panel today, I'm humbled to be around people who found success on that. So hopefully I can get some mentoring and some lessons on that and be as successful as them.
I love that. Okay. Jugush or Judy, whoever to go first, and then.
Just like Charlton said, I would say I would probably have started a bit earlier, because I was in the industry for quite a while, for many, many years before that. And maybe what I should say is the reason I am a content creator today, who's privileged to work with some of the best companies in this we have in this country, is actually because of Njugush. Maybe that is something I feel I should mention that, because I resigned from the company that was producing the shows I mentioned in 2018, and I had absolutely no plan for what was next in my life, but I knew I had given everything I could to that company, because I had been there for like 10 years, and I was ready for a new chapter. What I did not know was that this would be the chapter. So I started working with Njugush and Celestine, and I remember we would be going to meetings and whatnot, and I'm in the car, they're trying to record videos, na nikuko najificha chini ya kiti nikiwaambia msinirecord, because I was so afraid of being in front of the camera. Like because I had existed for so long behind the camera. So now this other world of being in front of the camera was very scary for me. But what maybe, as Charlton said, by the Mungu, ile kitu amekupangia, just, what I did not know is from Njugush and Celestine posting and tagging me was the thing that was gonna get me to this place that I am today.
A lot of no's.
N-O.
Because the way I've grown up, it's, which is good, it's, how do I put it? Because my brother is different from me. I don't know how to express myself. So if, for example, you ask me, are you okay? I'll just say I'm okay. I don't want to bother you. I come to your place. Do you want water or coffee? No, I'm okay. Until I see there's a lot of water to spare, I'll take. So I didn't know how to say no. So you end up doing a lot of things that don't benefit you. What else you could have used that time to benefit yourself? Everyone else is saying no, but you are saying yes. So you're carrying a lot of baggages of saying yes. Because you said yes, you must go to Karatina, then you come back, you said yes, and everyone said no. So you end up doing a lot of rounds for people who will not say yes to you. So you're carrying a lot of yeses, and then when it comes to your turn, they won't say yes, they'll say no, without explanation. So I wish I'd be able to say, from then, I'd be able to say a lot of no's. Maybe I'll be farther. Yes.
Better now? You're supposed to say
Yes,
no.
it's better, but I'm getting to it.
No,
But now,
I was getting you to practice to say no.
no. But now the problem is I'm saying no with explanation. Like, no, okay, usione vibaya. Like, I need to reach a point where you say no without explanation.
I'll give you a word. No is a complete sentence.
But why?
It is.
No, that's what they ask.
Just no. You don't need to explain yourself.
Ni
The more
sawa
you
tu,
practice-
utanikota.
Does anyone have any question? Okay, let me start with Janvet. I saw her hand first. I'll come to you.
Mine is just a, can I be heard? Mine is just a comment. When I was your age, I didn't have any of the tools that you had. I had a different type of tool. It was my brain, and walking fast everywhere and actually saying too many yeses to many bad bosses. But at least you guys get to work on your own. You get to work, be creative. You get to come up with new stuff. You get exposed to a world that adds on to what you're doing. I'm actually addicted to TikTok. I actually have to wake up in the morning and say, no, you're not going to watch it. Do something else, and then come and watch it. And once I start watching it, I just can't stop. Cooking with Dennis Wambachi, I even have favorites. So keep doing what you're doing. I hope you're mentoring more young people, because we need them in this. We need them in your space. We need them to create content and news.
I'll come to you.
Hi everyone. I'm Tony from Kenyan Parliamentarians Association, and my question goes to any one of the panelists there. Could you please share your perspective on the current policy landscape for content creators in Kenya? Do you feel that the existing policy really favors you people? Because we know for sure that during the conversation about the finance bill, actually Njugushu are very controversial about it. Yeah. So do people feel that you are really protected by the current policies? Are they favorable to you? Are you earning what you should be, are you getting what you should be getting from your content? Or ama kuna venye tu imewaslap hata nyinyi? So that's my area of interest. Because I remember even the president saying that Njugush and Butita are earning more than him. So sahi hata mtu Njugusha akitoka huko nje aone Njugusha anasema bas, this guy, he's rich, akona pesa because he earns more than the president. Are you people earning? Are your earnings proportional to the effort that you are putting in generating your contents? Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Kipyegon. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ken Babu. I equally come from the Kenya Young Parliamentarian Association. And we majorly deal with policy making. Now, to the content creators, my question is, how can the policy makers support that profession and sustain? I mean, how can the policy makers support the professional growth and sustainability of the content creators, particularly in terms of copyright protection and the royalty distributions? We've had recently the MCSK distributing royalties, and there were so many issues. And then we've had some complaints with the young content creators talking about AI and disparity in payments. So you, as the people on the national flag, on this national stage, you are up there, guys are seeing you. How can we come in as the young parliamentarians to ensure that the policies that we are making are supporting your professional growth and sustaining the content creations that you guys are protected? You can guide us and give us the way forward on how you feel these things should be addressed.
And maybe the last question from our table. My name is Rachel Tabitha, as well from Kenya Young Parliamentarians. And my question is quite different from the policy part of it. So as young politicians, someone like me, I've been so active on social media. I have videos, photos that hit up to half a million impressions. I've never gotten any gig. I went TikTok, I opened a channel there, a page, of course not for gigs, but for my own things. I also get impressions and all that. So anytime I post a photo of myself, like a photo or a video of myself with some filters, I don't get, I get a very few, a few comments and audience, but when I post anything to do with Baba, because people have known me by, I'm always behind Raila Odinga everywhere, in all rallies and everything, and mandamanos, they like that kind of content, but then I don't get anything to market, I don't make money out of it. Now, for Gen Z and millennials, we're trying to tell them to join the social medias and maximize the opportunity, maybe to make some money. Now, when it comes to us, maybe politicians upcoming, we get the numbers but no gigs. So what is it that we're not doing right, or what should we do about it? Thank you.
I'll let you guys respond to that first, and then I have a question on that side and one question there. Oh, sorry.
All right. I think maybe I'll touch on policies. The issue, you've said it was controversial. the issue was the withholding tax, because the withholding tax, the government was, they were proposing 15% withholding tax for creatives. But now a doctor, a consultant doctor will pay 5%, the 5% withholding tax. So why would creatives pay 15%? So that's why we were saying, it's not that we don't want to pay tax, but it's because it's punitive. From 15%, and any other consultant, if for example it's, let's say it's an auditor who comes, let's say for example, twice a year, you pay them, but you deduct 5% withholding. So that's what we were saying. And then the president said, can we do 8? We still insisted, no, we want 5, because it's unfair to us. Let's say for example, someone started today YouTube, and then the small amount they are making, you're already cutting 8%. Whereas someone has been in the profession for long, they're being paid, let's say for example, 200,000, you're only taking 5%. So that's where we are coming from in terms of policies. Two, I feel in terms of, well, this is not for us as content creators, but I don't know, it's a very thin line about digital security, where in terms of, like for example, I know for mass media, there are clear guidelines of media ethics. So that we don't have. It's an open market. So if today I wanted to record someone who is dying, I'll record and show blood. So not unless now the platform flags that because of the blood. Like for example, on YouTube, you can't upload even slaughtering a goat. It will be automatically be removed because of the blood. If you have violence and what have you. Because there are some people used to use YouTube to hack people. And they go live and they hack people. So other than that, internally, because sometimes I feel pity, you see someone posting a kid, someone in not their best of times. I don't know what can be done as far as that is concerned. Also obscenity, also the things, because we are also having kids who are also accessing these social media platforms. And I don't want my kids to be exposed to things that I'm trying to contain from where I am, but they can get to them on digital. It's a very thin line, because how do you control that? But I think you could help us with that. The other thing was, that's policy. In terms of shooting, because in terms of content creation, I think the county government, I think in Nairobi, have been able to do that. People are shooting in town, which was something we were looking for. But also, if you would help maybe in the government facilities. Like for example, I know KBC has places, let's say for example in Nairobi, Mombasa, the government have, I am assuming it's the same from parliament in the government, they have spaces that content creators can use without paying. Let's say for example, you have a government facility where I could shoot, like I'm in a certain office in a hospital. Could we get access to those places, even if it's for a very small fee, but for guys who cannot afford to pay, let's say for example, a real hospital to shoot, it's expensive to pay for location. So if we'd get access to such, government facilities. Like, for example, there is a Kenya School of ABCD. Kenya Institute of Mass Communication is a government school where they have studios. How can we be able, as content creators, to take advantage of that, because we are paying tax, you get, and take advantage of that and shoot there without necessarily incurring a lot of cost. The other thing is, musituitange tu pale mwisho, involve us in some of these thought leadership. Like, for example, the issue of, even the bill before it came to parliament, about the 5%. If you involved kidogo creatives, I think we could have nabbed that before it got to 15 and then 8, and then you look like you don't know what you're doing. So if we could be involved in creating some of these, and especially that touch us, I think that's also could be something, so that when you come up with let's say, for example, a bill, it's wholesome. Everyone agrees with it. So other than that, I don't know if there's something I've left, so that I put the microphone down. Royalty, MCSK, oh, that's a thorny issue, because you find we put too much, and I understand it's government, but we put too much emphasis on running societies, running institutions. So what do I need to get this thing running? Well, we forget content creation is a different kind of institution, because when you're using more than 40-50% to run the office, and that's the money the content creator or the musician is waiting, then there's a problem. You find 30% is what gets to the creator. So someone is really putting their feet down, they're really working, they're going to those locations that are very expensive, yet when the money comes, it goes to running of office. Like, for example, make me understand why someone will be having a chase car, someone will be having 2-3 cars, and is running the MCSK, honestly. And there's a guy in Kwale who, what they know is just waking up, recording, borrowing money from parents, selling things so that they do the production. Then that money, I'm not saying it's being eaten, no, but it's being misused. I don't understand why even they need to have flowers in, I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, is there a way, if that money is royalties to artists, it goes directly to royalties without running anything? You get where I'm coming from? Like, for example, the way tax, well, we have KRA for that, but also it's, so can we have, I don't know, then again, that's the work for those who are going to formulate the policies again, but find a way of that money. If they collected 10 shillings on Jugush, well, let it even come to me as 9. Then 1 you say is facilitation, but when you give me 2, and you say 3 went to, they have to go with cars, big cars, for, that doesn't, so that's maybe what I'd say. Maybe before I become of ambitious.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Did someone want to add? I want to give the opportunity. All right, the question's gonna come from this side.
Yeah, these.
So she's going to sign and it's going to be translated.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Lensa Achieng. I'm representing FedWed, and my question goes to Judy. Before, you have talked about teaching your kid about period and whatever you post on your YouTube channel. So I was asking, now that that is content that is supposed to be benefiting people in general, have you tried to include the persons with disability, the deaf people, maybe looking for ways how you can be able to include a sign language interpreter or something to make it inclusive for us to see, because we are parents and we are persons with disability and would want to follow your content. Also for Jugush, I would want to ask, now that you're a comedian and you post some of this content that you're giving, maybe would you come and mentor some deaf people and see how we can work together? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, maybe I can go first. So if I am being very honest, that is one area I have maybe not been very keen to look at. And maybe this is where it begins. Would she be willing to come onto the channel and have these conversations? Yeah, so because maybe this is how it's supposed to begin. And I would be more than willing to host you. Yeah. Awesome. And to answer, before Njugush can answer, to answer your question, and please allow me to be very honest, very, very honest. Brutally honest. No client is going to touch you if you're talking politics. That one I think you can vouch for me. Yes. No client, no brand is going to want to work with you if your content is very political, because that is what they call a controversial content creator or a controversial influencer. Because if I was to give a good example, say Safaricom, because Safaricom is very big on working with influencers. Safaricom doesn't want to be, if they come and work with you, then there's a very high possibility of people assuming that Safaricom now supports Baba. And that is not something they want to, that is not the kind of communication they want to give people or to run with the population. So I would say for you, if that's the line that you want to stick with, itakuwa tricky sana hapo kwa content creation. Yeah, because one of, sorry?
Let me get the mic.
Oh, yes. Oh, I see. Yeah, she says your audience is not corporate. But the people who are giving us these jobs, the people who are giving us, the way we make our money is from working with these corporates. If I can, yeah, or maybe I would like to hear from you. Like, if you're looking to attract a client, which kind of client are you thinking of? Give me a random company that you've wanted to work with.
Thank you so much. So I mean, politics cut across. So we advocate for inclusion for the youth. Apart from being associated or aligned with the opposition politics, a youth being out there who has a voice in the community, in the society, could be used to amplify the same voice on behalf of the youth by companies. So what I was wondering is like, I get many followers, like many impressions, 500,000, 250,000, but then gigs, buana, we are comrades, we need the gigs. Could you give us a trick, even if it's politics?
Allow me to reply to your question. I think you're taking our or their front as they have used social media to make money. Have you tried it the other way around? That yes, I do have a following, I do have content, and my content, yes, is controversial, and there's a certain audience that I'm impacting. Have you looked at, I have a mentorship class, I have online classes, I can mentor people into this industry, into policy, into politics, into building or getting into parties, especially with Kenya being a multi-party country, with so many parties trying to recruit the youth to be part of them. You are using your platform to reach people, to make money for you, not looking for brands to sponsor you to reach your people, okay? So it would be the other way around, as opposed to what they are doing, reaching brands to pay them to reach their audience. You're using your audience to pay you to spread the word that you have. Sometimes content creation can be the other way around to work for you.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that's a good problem you have, because you have audience. Because a lot of us, we don't have audience, we don't have numbers, and we want the money. So I think maybe an assignment is, what does because you have an audience, the reason why you're getting those views, you have people. And I'm sure everyone, there's something they can be sold to. So it's you to check your guys, and I'll give you an example. One, are you in business? Do you show that you're in business? Like if I look at your, other than yes, your, because when we look at you, let's say for example, you're hanging out with person A, we know them, you have money. You are in money. So I have my small business, but I had your 200,000, but according to how you're rolling, but if tomorrow I see you have a brand you're working with, they even didn't pay you. Maybe it's your friend, you're posting something for them, and guys, today I'm having this, by ABCD you can call them, I'll see you in business, because what agencies do, they look at those numbers. Why can't we have them? Because when we're having a campaign, we feel some blanks. As an agency, they feel blanks. They are looking for someone, let's say for example, this is just an example, and I'm sorry for doing this, but an example for purposes of this. If for example, there's a particular company selling a luxurious car, they would feel blanks. They'll come to Njugush. Njugush and luxury, if it were a Pro Box, I'd come in. You said you love Baba. We can associate some luxury with a particular following ya Baba. Ukweli? So you'd be the right person to be able, but I don't see like you're in biashara. All I see it's you with your work. You are actually busy to reach you because you're in politics. Turn that around. Jalango, if there's someone who was number one Baba, Jalango. But he found a way of working around it, and he was never focused with guys from Central. We know this country is divisive when it comes to politics, but for your audience, and that's the beauty of digital, you focus on that particular audience and you feed them. So what I'd say is look into your audience. What is it that they want you doing? Like for example, the clothes you wear to Parliament, where did you get them? Look like you're in biashara, so that tomorrow I have my own brand, and I'm willing to give you money. And then from there, once you get, and she'll agree with me, once you get the first client, that's it. So you have a very good problem. You have audience, but you have no money. So money is coming.
I wanted to just...
Yeah, maybe what you need to do is rethink these clients that you want. Yeah, because everybody that you've mentioned, I can promise you. Yeah, when I say, hey, politicians, politics are controversial, but maybe there's a client who is very much in line with what you do and politics as content. So maybe rethink who are some of these clients that you can work with. Yeah.
I wanted to just give her advice as well. There's some questions here before I give the mic. Is the question that they're asking you to answer is how are you packaging yourself? So how you package yourself is how people receive you. So if you continue to package yourself as controversial, whatever, you can still put the message of politics out there, but it's just how you package. It's a wrong person to use, but for instance, the lady called, I think she's called Candace Owens from the States. She's very controversial, extremely controversial, but how she packages herself gets her people funding what she does. So as they're saying, go look at your audience, look at what, there's something that Charlton said. He started to pay attention to the videos that are doing well. So pay attention to the videos that are doing well. I'll end it with something that Jugush has picked my brain from, is there's a lady in Nigeria, she's a judge, she works or a lawyer. And every day, she just, before she gets out of the car, she just shows her outfit and then walks into court. And so who knows, maybe there are brands who are working with her, wanting to dress her. So it can just be one of those. But I think you need to just think about how you package yourself. I have a question here, and I have 2 more questions, and then just 2.
Hi everyone, let me stand now. I'm at the back so that everyone can see. My name is Beldina Kirito. I'm also a content creator. And before I ask my question, or before I put something I would like Jugush and the team to address, I would like to tell her also sometimes brands may not come to you. Go to the brands. Like for me, what I do, I come up with a list of brands I want to work with, book an appointment, pitch, and sometimes I get, sometimes I don't. Yeah, so sometimes they don't have to come to you, go to them as well. Yeah, now to the team, I would like to encourage you, probably you can also, like the top content creators that we have in the country, have you thought of probably having an association? We have all these other organizations or people having associations. Like we have associations of accountants, I'm also a baker, we have association of bakers, association of teachers. Associations are everywhere. And we have so many young content creators coming up. Some so clueless, they don't know where to start, and they have a lot of potential and a lot of talent. Other platforms like YouTube, their algorithm, I must say, it's very mean. Comparing to TikTok, like for me, it got me just, I think 1 week to get to 16,000 followers on TikTok. On YouTube, I've been there for the last 3 years, and I'm just at 50,000. The moment I take a break, the algorithm goes back to zero. I may post a video, it may not get viewers. So probably you can think of getting association whereby we have mentors, people who are willing to collaborate without people paying, so that, for example, I would like to collaborate with Judy. So probably she gives me a rate card. I can't afford it. Yeah, so we should have those platforms whereby we have some willing to mentor, even at a small cost, so that we help them grow and nurture them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll make mine very short in the interest of time. I just wanted to ask about how you ensure safety and security in the digital space. There is a lot of cyberbullying. There are content creators who've been driven out of the space and they can no longer post or do anything. But at the same time, we have content creators who take forward, stereotypical kind of thoughts and toxic masculinity. So how do you guard against those kinds of issues?
I'm coming. She has a point for policy.
Okay, somebody said you need associations. And associations for content creators, if you don't have one yet, please organize. When we were in the media, we did a media owners association that they came up with laws and all sorts of strict rules that we had to sit and lobby them as an association. So we agreed on watershed times for alcohol advertising. We agreed on watershed times for all these soap operas we think that might be perhaps children's bedtime. We agreed on quite a number of things, and we sent a bill. And we were very aggressive, and we went to Parliament. When the Finance Act came, we sat at Scrum Trust with a lot of people and went line by line with this group of guys, and you can ask Crown Trust to even help you with them. We went line by line with the Finance Act, and they taught us how to even write our objection to the clauses we did not agree to. Music Copyright Society should have a charter. In your content creators, you should get somebody strong. I suggest John Alanamu, strong, who can go and face these guys on your behalf, or you get good lawyers, or you get good parliamentarians who are interested in what you're doing and make them follow the charter instead of complaining. Get on with it. Be intentional. You're intentional with your content, but you need to be intentional with your environment.
Round of applause to that.
Thank you. Okay. So let me say, first of all, that you guys are brilliant. I know it's going to sound like I don't know what our generation are called. We are called generation which one? Because I'm not on social media other than on WhatsApp. And I think Telegram. I used to be on some, but I'm not on. But I get to see your content. And you guys are brilliant. Like really, really brilliant. Perhaps we're not even your target market, but you're brilliant, and I really want to thank you for making our space a more livable space and even helping us to laugh at ourselves. As the previous speaker has just said, we did go through the Finance Act, and that issue of the withholding tax was an issue we kept on raising, including proposing a scale, for new entrants, people who are earning a certain amount, to propose a scale. So we are happy to work with you because we do policy advocacy. So that's something that we're willing to do. But my question is, you operate on platforms that are international, they're internationally owned, right? So what is the challenge there? Because with what is called the cancel culture, like you can actually put out content that maybe is not deemed politically correct, particularly in those jurisdictions these days, you know, where maybe, you know, you're not conforming to things. And have you actually thought about what an African platform would look like? That is the one question that I would want to know from you, because I think eventually it is a challenge, especially the kind of controversy that TikTok has elicited, where in some countries, TikTok is being banned. So if that's your platform and that's where you're making your resources, the day that they decide to ban it, that's it. You know, you're cut off and you really don't have recourse. You know, well, you'd have to reinvent yourself or go on to another platform and start again. So that's question number one. The other thing is about monetization. So of course, the government is quite predatory in its approach to resource mobilization. And I've been curious about how these platforms are actually monetized. So does YouTube come to you and say, you've got A, B, C, D followers, and so we want to pay you? You know, aside from brands coming to you, because there's monetization from those platforms, right? TikTok pays you, YouTube pays you. I don't know about Instagram. I don't even know how that one works. I need to name. But, so do they approach you? And how does the money come? Does the government access your, you know, do they deduct from source whatever revenue you get, and so ultimately it comes to you, or they expect you to follow up on it? And then finally, this one is directly to you, Njugush. I know you've talked about political, you know, the political space not being, but I think, Njugush, you're quite political. And in a very subtle and hilarious way. Kwanzaa, I really loved the one on the electric motorbikes when you were looking for a Type-C charger because you had run out of charge. You know, bringing the message home. And have you thought of expanding that space? Because you'll be surprised, you know, people get it, and it speaks to people in a different way and brings the message home differently. But have you gotten into trouble for it? You know, have they come, tried to shut you down, threaten you because of this? So that's, you know, something I'd like to know. Thank you.
So keep the responses short, because everyone's coming back in the room because we want to wrap up. So whoever wants, I think Charlton will go first, I think.
I'm going to answer her question in the back, the one who's also a social influencer, and a bit of your question. To start with, she said, is there a space where people who are already big can mentor upcoming people and people who don't get to collab with big artists? And also to do with you about what an African platform would look like. There is a space coming up, a project called Creators Hub, where TikTok, YouTube, representatives from America are they're building a building here, a big space where there's gonna be space for musicians, content creators, there's gonna be kitchens for people who cook, and they're partnering with a few brands here. So they're gonna get mentors who are already big, like on social media, to mentor you on what to do, how to go about social media and small classes. I'm not sure if it's gonna take off this year, but there is a space. It's called Creators Hub, to answer your question also.
Thank you, Charlton. Whoever can respond to some of the questions, whoever is able to.
Well, now, I'll try and rush through. So I'll start with cyberbullying, and there's someone who talked about cyberbullying and toxic masculinity and whatnot, the vices that we are propagating. That's what I was saying to our, you said Young Parliamentarians Association, yeah? I think that's something, and that's why I said about security, because it's huge. I don't know what can be done, but again, that's why you guys are there to make laws. And I'd love for it to be, and when we talk about cyberbullying, people are depressed, cyberbullying. And what is interesting, I once met my buller, the one who was bullying me. And it was so interesting because when behind the keyboards, they are very chatty. And then I noticed this person on Twitter. By then it was called Twitter, and we met at Kenya National Theatre. And they're like, hey, Njugush, I like you, can we take a photo? I asked them, where are you going to take it? And you person XYZ. They're saying, I didn't mean it. So I don't know what can be done. I don't know if we'll have a digital squad where you report, because it's visible. And some are very demeaning. You see someone post a cute baby, and they say bad things. There's a guy who was, and I'm happy the guy was apprehended. He was posting young girls and saying bad things, and the guy was caught. Yeah? So I don't know, that's a gray area, because again, we have, in this country, and we appreciate that we have the freedom of speech, but how far is how far? So I think Apple, in terms of policies, now it becomes maybe more government. Two, on the same, we have mentorship amongst us, because people think it's cool. Like, for example, when a young girl does something that's no good, a young guy, the same, they are doing that out of, it's a new thing, no one is going to ask me. But as thought leaders, quote unquote, and I'm a champion of behavior change, because some things we take as normal, they are not normal. Like, for example, how would a normal human being throw a bottle, an empty bottle of water outside a car on a highway? But until we talk about these things, like, for example, there's a time we're doing, sorry, you said we keep it short, eh?
Yeah.
A time we were doing gender-based violence, and there are some things that are violence. Yeah, there are some things that are violence, but we don't see them like violence. Like, for example, a makanga pulling you to get into their vehicle. Yeah. So, two, associations, another gray area. A lot of content creators, we are young. We don't want to be told this is how we should be able to do. I am free. So we have had that problem. We have had a lot of association coming up. We don't have an institution. Like, for example, lawyers, you come from law school into the business. Now from there, you have to follow what others have done. Right now, everyone is coming. But good news is we have an association. It's at Babu's office. They are working on structuring. Yeah, we've done the background and Tarantahela, yeah? Yes, it's no, as the capacity, as the CS, not under Atalanta Hela, as the CS. Yes, Ababu Namwamba, the CS. So there are processes to be followed, but then again, how many are going to join? So that's something else. So that's why I'm saying again, in policies, is it something that cannot be political, but come from parliament? Such that for nurses, you need to be in this. For architecture guys, you need to be in this. So for content creators, you need to register in this. Na hapo wangetushika. When we had the COVID money, a lot of us will have registered. Cyberbullying, website monetization. Now, this is, I think, the last one.
Yes.
Second last. Last one. Monetization, it's true. The platforms we are using are borrowed. So we depend on them. But we're in Kenya. Right now, if US decided they don't want anything to do with us, as Kenyans, like, for example, things like AIDS kits, the HIV kits, they are donor funded. So if they say they're not going to come, we're in problem. So as a country, this is a problem my parents and their parents found themselves in. So there's nothing much we can do. However, we are trying to have homegrown solutions. Like, for example, we have websites. She has a website that they do their content and they sell merchandise. They're making money off that, and guys are employed. So yes, we have homegrown, but we have to mix. For us to tell them about the website, we have to use the larger audience to direct them to the website. The last one is about political charging, and I think it's just being smart about it and how you say, because my first client is the audience. If I serve the audience, that's what I was saying about her. If she serves her audience, then the rest is easy, because the things I'm talking about, they affect everyone. So I don't say this or that person. You balance, and it's true what I'm saying. So if I touch your heart, it's like when a pastor touches your heart, you're going to remove money. So it's the same way. I'm done.
Okay.
Olive,
so sorry,
done.
if you wanted to ask questions, they'll be here, I think, for a few more minutes. But please ask them personally, because now we're wrapping up at the end of the day. And can we give them a round of applause? I personally want to thank you for the privilege of your time and sharing your knowledge with us and learning from your stories and how unique and individual they are. As you said, we're all unique and we all have something to bring to the table. So I hope whatever you've learned, for those who do have businesses and you're not existing digitally, or you are and you're not using, the lady at the back said when she takes a break at YouTube, her views go down. So, and Judy said, consistency is what has led her to sit here at the table and share her knowledge. So again, let's give him a round of applause, and over to Olive. Thank you.
Thank you, Makofi Angela.